back to another edition of the Burnout with yours truly, Tony. We got another story to show you how crooked prosecutors can be. But before we dive into that, let me give you the quote of the day. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. When you quit looking at things negative and start putting a positive spin on it, if you quit being a Debbie Downer, as I say. Once you change the way you look at the outcome, or you look at the beginning, the outcome will change. That's a good quote. But this story right here is actually close to home. I think it's in Prattville, if I'm not mistaken. And it says, former juror riddled with guilt after helping to send black man to death row on testimony of witness who was paid $5,000 by the state, begs for forgiveness from his family. Let's dive into this and see, let's get a little deeper into this and see what this is about. A woman who sat on the jury that sent an Alabama man to death row 25 years ago is not calling for a new trial due to the evidence of potential legal misconduct, saying her role in the defendant's 1998 murder conviction keeps me awake at night. Monique Hicks of Prattville, Alabama, sat on the jury that found Toforest Johnson guilty in the murder of Jefferson County Deputy Sheriff William G. Bill Hardy, who was gunned down in the parking lot of the Birmingham Hotel in the summer of 1995 while working an off-duty job as a security guard. Johnson, who was black, was put on trial for 3 years. Well, he was put on trial. 3 years later, found guilty and sentenced to death based on questionable testimony by a witness who was paid thousands of dollars to testify for the prosecution. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. Last week we did one that talked about 2 grown adults who tortured and killed a 6-year-old, and they were given 30 years with the possibility of parole. This man is accused of killing a cop and get the death penalty. See that's the justice bar. I don't understand how that works. That death is no different than this death. So why does one hold, because he was a police, that carries more weight than a 6-year-old who was defenseless? But that's really hitting on there. Due to newly uncovered evidence, Hicks now says she regrets her role in Johnson's conviction, proclaiming his innocence and even seeking forgiveness from his family. I have asked the Lord to forgive me for my part in the inflicting so much suffering, she wrote in a guest opinion column that was published April 22nd on Alabama.com. I pray that Mr. Johnson and his family can forgive me too. In the meantime, I will continue to use my voice to plead for justice. He was 25 when he went in, he's 59, so you done took 25 years of this man's life. Let's go a little deeper in this. In the opinion column, Hicks expressed deep regret, asking what responsibilities do I bear? My role in the wrongful conviction of an innocent man keeps me awake at night. The effort to free Johnson has received substantial backing from celebrity activist Kim Kardashian, as well as several prominent legal figures, including the National Innocence Project, which recently filed 2 briefs supporting a new trial for Johnson, one in the U.S. Supreme Court and another in Alabama Jefferson County Circuit Court. As of May 24th, no execution date has been set for Johnson, who has maintained his innocence since he has become a suspect in the officer's murder nearly 3 decades ago when he was 25 and in the prime of his life. At the time of the killing on July 19, 1995, 5 suspects in addition to Johnson were eventually rounded up in connection with the fatal shooting, but only Johnson was convicted despite no physical evidence and the lack of eyewitnesses who could place him at the scene of the crime. Last year, Jefferson County District Attorney Danny Carr conducted a 9-month review of the evidence and concluded that in the interest of justice demand a new trial for Johnson, who is now 50 years old. So you done took 25 years of this man's life. There's no physical evidence that he was anywhere in the vicinity that did anything, but you want to hold on to this. Let's find out why. Leadership is not about being right, but about making things right. he said during a faith rally in support of Johnson in December 2023. However, State Attorney General Steve Marshall has dismissed this investigation, referring to it as Carr's subjective opinion. Well, here's the thing about this so-called Attorney General, who's pretty much full of it. You can't find anybody to blame. You found one person that you think that you have no evidence that did it, and you want to hold on to that because you have nothing else to hold on to. You are trash. You are garbage. That's not how this works. This is how you're trying to make it work. But an appeal filed by Johnson lawyer in Jefferson County Circuit Court argued that the investigation cannot be summarily ignored. Despite the new evidence, Marshall keeps going to court to block the convicted man from getting a new trial and is pushing for Johnson to be put to death sooner rather than later. Why are you blocking it and why are you pushing it? Because you're scared something is going to come out that shouldn't come out. And it wouldn't surprise me if you're involved in it. The main snag in the state's case involved a witness named Violet Ellison, who testified in the 1998 trial that she overheard Johnson confess to the officer's murder during a phone call she had eavesdropped on as Johnson spoke from jail. Now, there's two things wrong with that. Number one, nobody's in jail gonna confess that they killed anybody while you're in jail. Even if you did it, you're gonna confess your innocence the whole time. So number one, that should have been a little shaky from the start. Number two, you eavesdrop how? Was you there when he was talking? If I'm not mistaken, those phones are behind kind of a glass and they have to pick up the phone. So unless you was on the other side of the glass where he was, I don't really see how you could have heard that. And it said Ellison's testimony was the crucial linchpin, the linchpin of the case that ultimately won the conviction against Johnson. However, in 2015, 17 years after the trial, the state revealed that it secretly paid $5,000 to Ellis for her testimony. Bribery now. So that's what we're doing. So you paid this woman to get up there and lie. If it was true, that was no reason for you to have to pay her. Let's go a little deeper. Additionally, Ellison has had questionable histories as a witness because her testimony as a witness for the state in 5 other criminal cases that resulted in acquittals and dismissals. Her involvement in the Johnson case prompted 3 juries, including Hicks, to demand a new trial, stating they would not have convicted him if they had known about the payment to Ellison and her credibility issue. Well, your job is not to go by one piece of evidence. Your job is to look at everything in its totality. Y'all was looking for somebody to convict. You wanted to believe this. Regardless of what, you wanted to. And you did. And you convicted a man for wrongfully. All y'all are responsible for this. And why this woman is still free beats me. Let's look at it. Other new evidence has also emerged that points to Johnson innocent. A new podcast, Ear Witness, has brought renewed attention to the case and uncovered new information that has potential to free Johnson after decades behind bars. In 2023, the podcast tracked down Ellison's grandchildren, who revealed that they didn't trust her while describing her as willing to do anything for $1. According to nearly a dozen witnesses, Johnson and his disabled friend, Mr. Ford, were hanging out together at TT's Place downtown Birmingham nightclub at the time when Deputy Hardy was killed 4 miles away. But days after the slaying, a troubled 15-year-old girl named Yolanda Chambers, who joined later by a girlfriend, was picked up by Johnson and Ford after the men left the nightclub, fingered the 2 men to authorities following the sheriff department offering another reward. They should be locked up too. Although Chambers would change her story many times, she initially told investigators that the men confessed to the girls that Johnson had smoked a cop. Early that evening, Johnson and Ford became prominent suspects after Chambers' first of many interviews with investigators. During the trial, in which Chambers was proved to be an inconsistent witness, police all but admitted they were unsure about who actually killed Deputy Hardy, as they lacked any physical evidence of eyewitness accounts that directly implicated Johnson. At trial, prosecutors also presented 5 conflicting theories about the fatal shooting in an effort to explain the circumstances behind Hardy's death, but stopped short of drawing any conclusions suggesting that there was no smoking gun. The lead detective in the case initially testified that Mr. Ford and another man, Omar Barrett, were responsible for killing Hardy. However, prosecutors changed their theory multiple times over 3 years, leading to Johnson being the only one convicted and sentenced to death. So, you going by the testimony of basically a habitual liar that has been proven to be a liar, that has been proven that she's been paid to do this testimony, and you're still holding this man behind bars, even though you have absolutely no witnesses, no evidence, no reason to do it. And her own grandchildren said Miss Ellison would do anything for money. This is an evil woman. And then the two women that was picked up, once they said that was a reward, dollar signs went in their eyes, and all of a sudden they made a bogus confession. If you are a witness and you lie, it's perjury, number one. You lied under oath. The second thing is, you took an innocent man, you took 25 years from an innocent man's life because you was interested in a couple of dollars. Both of them young ladies that testified and they lied should be locked up. They should not be free. There's no way in my mind they should be free. The jury, I don't understand that y'all took one piece of evidence and convicted this man. Your job is to look at the evidence in its totality, then come up with the best verdict that you can come up with, a decision you can come up with. A police was killed. Y'all needed somebody to blame. You needed somebody to accuse, to put a face to it, like we got him, this and that. And none of the evidence is matching. All the evidence is backwards. But this is where we at now. That's why I say you're guilty until proven innocent. And even then, that don't work. And I'm just stunned that this is how this ended up. But that tells you what they think about you. Black man, you ain't gotta be there. They know you was 4 miles away from the time he was killed, but you're still gonna problem. So evidently he can be in 2 places at one time. So that's basically the way they're saying. And the prosecutor, this guy is in such a big hurry to get them to execute because he knows more truth of what is going to come out, and it wouldn't surprise me to find out if he knows the truth but won't tell it because he's trying to shield somebody, or he's trying to shield himself, his reputation, but he is garbage. And I hate to say it, but he's straight garbage. That you're not interested in the facts. You're just interested in wanting somebody to be Attorney General, Steve Marshall. You're a disgrace. You shouldn't even be Attorney General. You're going to give an account for all this mess you do. And you don't care about if he's right or wrong, if he's innocent or guilty. You just want somebody to blame so you can say we got him. Sooner or later, this mess going to blow up in your face as it should. But hey, when it does, we're going to stay on top of it. But hey, that's all the time we got for today. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. On the Burnout, and always remember, always flame up, never burn out. 2 fingers. Peace.